DaNaia, I ain't gonna hold you, sis. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, like, let me go ahead and get it off my chest. God is not pleased. He did not tell you to do this. Sorry, y'all. Like, I am visiting family, so this is the best that I could do for, like, a video setup. So bear with me, okay? All right, okay. What up, Kingdom Builders? Welcome back to my channel. I am Ebony Evaughn, your favorite business strategist in these internet streets. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about the DaNaia Jackson situation, and I want to speak on it from the place of DaNaia as the brand and not necessarily so much the person. Okay, so before we get into this video, you may be wondering, like, Ebony, who is DaNaia Jackson? What are you talking about? If you are clicking on this video because you're a regular channel subscriber and you don't know who DaNaia is, a quick backstory is DaNaia Jackson is the current wife. Yes, I said current because they are still legally married, okay? She is the current wife of Derrick Jaxn, who is a very well-known relationship guru. He's in the self-help, personal development space. He's created a lot of content around relationships, healing, and marriage, particularly targeted towards the Black community and specifically Black church women. Now, DaNaia is his wife, and just to kind of paint the story and timeline for those of you who don't know what has happened and what has been going on, about 2 years ago at this point, it came out that the relationship coach, Derrick Jaxn, that everyone has come to love and adore for his relationship commentary and advice, he really kind of gives a lot of content and advice from like a F-boy perspective. At least that's how it's always came off to me. So he gives a lot of relationship commentary, and about 2 years ago he was exposed by 𝗨𝗗 K over on her YouTube channel. She did a video where she interviewed two 𝗗𝗗𝗏, we're gonna say 𝗗𝗏𝗏, like spades, because there was a third woman that came out, but I think that third woman may have been like a lie or like made up her story. I'm not for sure. But at least two women did do interviews with 𝗨𝗗 K to say that, hey, like, I had a intimate relationship with Derrick Jaxn, and Derrick Jaxn is supposed to be married, right? And so after being exposed on 𝗨𝗗 K's channel, Derrick Jaxn comes out with this apology video with his wife, DaNaia Jackson. And for most of us, I think this was probably our first time knowing he was married. I think it's like 50-50. Some people knew he was married, and then there were a lot of people who didn't even know he was in a relationship or had a wife. But the first time we actually saw his wife was in the apology video, where he's saying, like, yes, I've cheated on my wife, we're working through these things, and he's giving his whole apology in the video. DaNaia does not say anything verbally, but if you watched the video and you were listening with your spiritual ears, your spiritual eyes, then you know that her body language was saying a lot. Her facial expressions were saying a lot in that apology video, right? In this video, she's wearing this beret, and then people kind of start mocking her, which I don't necessarily agree with. I did laugh. I did think it was funny with the whole bonnet of salvation thing. But that is where that came from, because she was wearing the beret in the video. And then after people were kind of making fun of her about it, she did the whole, this isn't a bonnet, this is my helmet of salvation.
You see a bonnet, I see the helmet of salvation. You see an army green shirt, I see the breastplate of righteousness. I see the belt of truth, the sandals of peace.
And then from there, she's kind of gone viral a few times for different things that she's posted online on social media, like her prayer that was cursing people and all these other things, right? But last week, or by the time I post this video, 2 weeks ago, she actually ended up speaking out about her relationship with Derrick Jaxn for the first time on the Dear Wifey podcast. And in this interview, which is a 2-part interview, she really goes into detail about her relationship, the dynamics between her and Derrick, the things that she experienced throughout the tumultuous relationship that she had with him. And I remember as I was watching this interview, like, so many signals going off, so many, like, why did she say that? Like, what's happening here? What is she leaving out? And originally, when I watched the Dear Future Wifey podcast interview, I was going to make a reaction video to it, right? And I decided not to make the reaction video for a couple of different reasons. So the first reason why I didn't want to make a reaction video was because I do have empathy for DaNaia, and I want to show her grace just as a fellow Christian, right? I myself, I am a Christian. I am a believer in the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. And I feel like, especially in the online space, you have so many people who judge people just because they believe differently than what they themselves believe. So you have a lot of people that, because they're not Christians, they are going to condemn everything you do for having the audacity to even believe in Christianity, right? And then you have Christians who, in my opinion, will read you for filth, will drag you by your edges worse than anybody else. You have Christians that, because you believe the same way that they believe, they feel like you're supposed to walk like them, talk like them, behave like them, and think like them just because you share the same religious beliefs. And like, people are dynamic, right? We have so many different facets to us. We have so many different, perceptions and beliefs and values, that being Christian is only one component of your identity. There's so many other things that shape how you see the world, how you show up in the world, like your childhood, how you were raised, who was in your life or not in your life, the region that you were raised in. There's so many other things that impact what shapes your character, your personality, besides just religion. And I think that we have to give people grace for that. And there's not enough of that, especially when it comes to judging other Christians. And so I didn't want to create a reaction video to be like, I don't necessarily think what she said right here was right, or this or that, because I didn't feel like it added value to the conversation. And then the second reason why I had decided not to do the commentary reaction video to the initial interview was because of the fact that when you look at the comments on both part 1 and part 2 of DaNaia Jackson's interview, when you read the comments, there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of comments from women saying, oh my God, this is my current situation, or I used to be in the same situation. And so I do believe that sometimes just telling your story can be a testimony that helps someone else. And so just because her story didn't resonate with me doesn't mean that it's not helpful for other people. Like, even in my coaching sessions and in my coaching programs, one thing that I always tell my clients is, you have your own pulpit. Like, we are all pastors in some capacity, to where there's a group of people, a pulpit of people whose ears are tuned to the messages that we have. And so while I watched DaNaia's video and it didn't necessarily resonate with me in an emotional capacity, it wasn't meant for my ears to hear. It wasn't meant to resonate with me. But there were hundreds, if not thousands, of women who watched that video, and they were a part of DaNaia's pulpit. Now listen, I know I'm saying that DaNaia has a pulpit. Yes, I do believe she has a pulpit that she can be serving. I do believe that she can monetize it. But we're going to get into this whole infidelity recovery course and this coaching thing, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it and if I think you should actually be paying for this, okay? But I want to just kind of preface it with a couple of things first. So those are the two reasons why I decided not to do a initial reaction video, because number one, I didn't want to come off as if I was just another Christian judging her, and I didn't feel like my commentary was adding value. And then also because I know that her story did resonate with a lot of people, even though it didn't necessarily resonate with me. Now, from now on in this video, I am not going to focus on DaNaia as a person and an individual. She does have a brand, so I'm going to be focusing on DaNaia as the brand and what she is offering through her ministry as courses and coaching services, okay? So in order to do that, I do want to point out a couple of things in the interview that she did, because they're going to add context for what I'm going to say about her coaching services, okay? When I watched DaNaia's interview, very early on in the interview, a couple of things raised my spiritual antennas. And before I even say this, before you come in my comments and tell me that I'm judging her or that I should have more grace, or I'm going to do my best to be empathetic and to lead with grace as much as I can. But also I want to give you space to have your own judgment and to go back to the interview. I want you to, first, before you go watch the interview again, this is what I want you to do. I want you to say a prayer to God, ask him for discernment, ask him to open your spiritual eyes so that you can see. I want you to ask God to open your spiritual ears so that you can hear through his lens, okay? Say that prayer. Give it a moment to settle in and marinate, because I know how some of y'all are. Some of y'all like to go and say them prayers and say, God, make me a millionaire. God, bring me a husband. And then you jump up and go on about your business without even giving God time to respond, right? Let me not start preaching in here. But you want to make sure that you say a prayer for discernment, for God to open your spiritual ears, open your spiritual eyes, so that you are allowed to receive the messages that he wants you to receive. Not that Ebony wants you to receive, not that DaNaia wants you to receive, not the messages that anyone else wants you to hear. Ask God to give you spiritual eyes so that you can see what he sees through his lens. Spiritual ears so you can hear what he hears through his ears, okay? And then I want you to watch that interview again for yourself and see what you come up with. See what conclusion you have after you watch it and listen through your spiritual lens, okay? Now, for me, when I was listening to this interview, very early on, things started tapping on my spiritual ears. Things started gravitating towards these spiritual eyes. The first thing was very early on in the beginning when she's talking about her trauma, right, that she experienced 3 weeks before she met Derrick Jaxn. She said that she had a significant traumatic event. She was SA'd, right? And then she met Derrick Jaxn. And so she's telling this story, and as she's telling this story, something happened. The host asked her about what did he say. She's talking about how she got into an argument with Derrick, and she brought up the fact that this experience happened to her when she was SA'd, right? And when I was watching her talk about this, the host says, like, well, what did you say to him, or what was his response? You can see she's talking and her head does a slight shake like this. Where she's talking, her head is saying no. And then as she's continuing to talk about it, she does a hand motion where she goes like this, right? And so my spiritual eyes, my spiritual ears were letting me know, Ebony, something is not right here. there's more to this story. So I do not know for sure what that is, but it made me come to two different conclusions or possibilities. The first thing is her head is saying no as she's talking, because this isn't what really happened, or maybe this didn't happen at all, right? And so even though her mouth is saying one thing, her body is saying that didn't happen, or it didn't happen like that. And her hand gesture is saying, okay, go ahead and get to the next thing, right? Girl, go ahead and get to the next thing, because she knows this didn't happen, it didn't happen like that, or either she is leaving something out that she didn't want to add to the story for what really happened. I'm not saying that she is lying, because I am the type of person, when it comes to SA, I am a believe a women type of person. I believe you should give people the benefit of the doubt until they show you otherwise, okay? Now, in addition to the hand gestures like this and the head going no, that could also mean something different. It doesn't necessarily mean that the story didn't happen the way she says it happened, or it didn't happen at all. It could also mean that she is still healing from this experience. So when she's shaking her head no, she's trying to block out the memory. She's trying to block out that situation, because she still has not dealt with it. And the hand gesture going like this, because she hasn't dealt with it, she wants to just go ahead and get to the next thing, so that she doesn't have to think about this traumatic event that she has been through. Either way, whether it's she hasn't dealt with it and she's not healed, or the events didn't happen the way that she says they happened, that was something that stuck out to me in that interview when I watched it with my spiritual ears and eyes, okay? And so I think you should go back and do the same thing. Now, something else that stuck out to me is, like, not about 5 minutes later, around like the 17 minute mark, she gets into the story of where she's talking about how she met Derrick, and she says, yeah, he said, he asked me, was I a model or something, right? And so this was very significant to me, because in this moment, when she said this, she kind of had this duping delight type of smile, or like this douching smile. And if you don't know what that is, this is something that police kind of say, like, if people are, like, someone gets arrested, right, for a crime, and they're like, did you commit this crime? And they're like, no, I didn't commit it, but they have this smirk on their face as they're saying they didn't do it, because on the inside they know that they did that thing, right? And they feel like they have gotten away with it. So when DaNaia is talking about the fact that Derrick asked her if she was a model, she didn't say this in the context of like, oh, like, hindsight is 2020, like, it was clearly game. This dude was sitting here trying to reel me in, asking me if I'm a model. It was like she wanted us in the audience to know he thought I was beautiful. I am beautiful because this established man said I look like a model, right? I don't know if that's what you got from this, but that is what my spiritual ears heard. And that was later confirmed through several points throughout this interview, where DaNaia chose certain words or language and phrases to describe certain situations or experiences that she had. Another example is when she talks about the house that they lived in, right? And she kept calling it a mansion. And it's like, why does it have to be a mansion? Why not just say house, or like your home? And even at one point throughout the interview, the host is, and I'm sorry, Mr. Dear Future Wifey, I just don't remember your name, okay? But the host says something about, yeah, at this point you were living in a 9,000 square foot house, right? And she was like, no, the 9,000 square foot mansion. And it's like, house, mansion, same thing. And then she also talked about being a real housewife without the TV show, right? And so it was a lot of the language and phrases and words that she chose to use in this interview that had me thinking, like, why is she being intentional about the fact that Derrick called her a model? Why is she being so intentional to make sure that she says mansion or having access to things, living a certain lifestyle? Like, what is the intention behind that? I'm not going to tell you what I think. I want you to go watch the interview for yourself. And I want you to watch the interview and then come back in the comments and let me know, what conclusion did you come to? Why do you think she was so intentional about using words like mansion or real housewife or model in her story? Okay, go do your own research, watch it for yourself, formulate your own opinions, and then come back and let me know what you think. But I feel like it was really intentional, the fact that she chose to use the language that she used. And I'm not for sure if, maybe she had like a media coach or someone who told her what to say, or if maybe she was just really intentional about preparing for this interview and using the language that she used. But it was very clear to me that it was very intentional throughout the whole interview, okay? And then last but not least, and I'm just going to touch on this, but I'm not going to add any commentary, is I thought it was very interesting at the end of the interview when the host brought up the fact that he wanted her to look good on camera, so he got her makeup done and made sure that she looked good. Again, it comes back to intention. I think that DaNaia is a beautiful woman on the outside. She doesn't need makeup or anything like that. I think she is a beautiful woman just naturally, and like makeup and all that stuff isn't required. But it was very interesting, the fact that, number one, why did you get her makeup done? And then number two, why did you feel like it was necessary to mention that in an interview, that you got her makeup done, right? So definitely go back and watch the interview and formulate your own opinions of why you think that is so. I'm not going to tell you guys my thoughts at this very moment, but meet me down in the comments and we can chat about it there, okay? Now, let's get into this whole course thing. When she gets into her testimony, honestly, it kind of stopped sounding like a testimony to me, and it started sounding more like a hero story. And I was like, I don't know. Like, and then when she got to the end, which is typically when people go on podcasts, they are going on these platforms, they're doing press runs, they're doing media so that they can actually promote products and services. This is a traditional marketing strategy that a lot of people use. I don't have a problem with that at all. But when she got to the end of the interview and the host asked her, like, do you have anything to promote? How can people connect with you? She talked about having her ministry, right? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, she's starting a ministry. And in my mind, it was coming from a place of, like, she was starting, like, a non-profit that was going to be, like, a nonprofit that was about women's empowerment type of thing, right? And I was like, oh, that's going to be really good for her. But the more I listened to the interview, it stopped really sounding like a testimony to me, and it started sounding more like a hero story. And for those of you who don't know what a hero story is, this is a popular marketing strategy and tactic that is used. It's used a lot specifically in the coaching industry, where you kind of use storytelling from like a marketing message standpoint, to where you are showcasing yourself as the hero in a story. So a hero story can be you sharing a situation where you saved yourself from something, how you got out of a situation, and you're your own hero, your own savior. Or it could be a hero story where you are telling a story of how you have been able to help or save someone else. And so as DaNaia was telling her story and going through this interview, it really started to sound like a hero story where DaNaia was painting herself as the hero in her own story. And because she was able to save herself, now she's able to save you too through her ministry, right? And so that was kind of the perception that I got from the interview itself. And again, I did not have a problem with that. As a business strategist, I help mostly corporate professionals who have working history and educational backgrounds to turn those skills into online businesses, into freelancing services, into coaching programs, into online courses, right? So I'm all about helping people to get a bag when it makes sense. But where it becomes problematic for me is when you're misrepresenting your skills, your qualifications, and trying to finesse people into buying products or services from you. And so after this interview, and honestly, I've seen people say that these courses and coaching that DaNaia is offering has been around for a while. I cannot verify if that is true or not, but because of this whole interview, a lot more people are paying attention to DaNaia Jackson. They're going to her social media, they're going to her website. And so there has been a lot of focus on the fact that she is now offering coaching services and online courses. So in particularly, and I'll put up a picture of the website that has all these things on there. But she's offering a infidelity recovery bootcamp where she's helping people to get paid, turn their pain into profits. And she also has programs where she's helping people to recover from infidelity. And so these courses and coaching services that she offers, they can range from, I think, 2 payments of $4.95 per month all the way up to 2 payments of $3,500 per month. So $7,000 per month, I think. And the reason why I say that is because the way her pricing is actually listed on her website is not really clear. And so let me just say a couple things, okay? Because this is going to frustrate me if I don't. Like, I got to put my coaching hat on just for a second and explain a couple of things. So, number one, when it comes to marketing and selling anything, if you want to maximize your profits, your messaging needs to be clear. People need to know exactly what they're paying for and exactly what they're getting in the marketing. And so even when I look at the pricing for DaNaia's course, it says 2 payments of $34.95 per month. And so for me, I don't even know exactly what that means. Are you saying that I'm basically paying, not me, because I would never pay for this. Are you saying that clients are paying $7,000 per month in order to participate in this program, and they have to pay this like on a subscription base where it reoccurs every month? Or are you saying that, you know, there's 2 payments? So they pay bi-weekly, they pay now, and then 2 weeks later, they're going to pay the remaining balance. And that's it for a grand total of $7,000. So that part wasn't really clear to me, and she didn't make that clear on her sales page or the checkout page. And so I'm pretty sure that's costing her a lot of sales. But even from just how she has the pricing listed, I can guarantee that she's missing out on a lot of sales just for the fact of how her sales page is. So this is free business advice. I'm not even going to hold y'all. I'm not even going to charge y'all $7,000 for this. But when you create high ticket offers, if you are a graphic designer, a website designer, and you have a $5,000 package, if you are a coach and you have a coaching program that's $7,000, your sales page that you're using to promote that product or service needs to be a long form page. So when I say a long form page, this means that you need to include a lot of sales copy in order to maximize your conversions. So, and probably the easiest way for me to explain this is the more money you're asking someone for, the more questions they're going to have before they actually give you their money. So for example, with this program, DaNaia is charging $7,000, and the reason why we all know about this coaching program is because of the fact that so many people are like, is DaNaia Jackson scamming? Why is she charging $7,000 for this course? And any potential customer that comes to her website is probably asking the same exact question. They want to know, why is this $7,000? Is it worth this? What am I going to get for $7,000? Is this program for me? Am I a good fit for this? What are you going to help me do? What result am I going to get? And so the purpose of having a long form sales page is to address all of those questions and the logical reasoning that's going on in your customer's mind. And I know there are a lot of people who will say, like, I don't read long sales pages. I don't like long sales pages. If you don't like them, if you're not going to read them, then that product or service is not for you. You weren't interested in buying it anyway. But a person who is concerned about parting ways with their $7,000, they're going to want to read that sales page to get all of their questions answered. They want to know what's included. Oh, you're going to give me an 8-week program. You're going to give me a workbook to go with that. Oh, I get private one-on-one coaching calls with you. You're going to give me 6 that are an hour long each week. Awesome. And then people can start to justify what it is that they're paying for. When you do not outline what's included, what it is that they're getting, the process that you're going to take them through, your methodology, your framework, the results that they can get, the benefits that they can gain from your product or service, is going to impact the actual number of clients that you get. Free game, not charging you for that, okay? So that is something to consider when you're creating your sales pages. I do have a course. I have 2 courses. I have a course called Sales Page Boss, which is all about how to write sales pages. And then it talks about the different elements of a page, and it teaches you how to write them using the AIDA marketing method or the problem solution method. And then I also have a course that is called Sales Funnel Boss that includes Sales Page Boss in it. So if you're going to get the funnel, don't buy the sales page separately, because it's included in Sales Funnel Boss, which talks about how to build a marketing sales funnel from beginning to end. And I talk about different funnels that you can set up and the best one for your business model and where you are in your business journey. Okay, I will leave the link to those in the comments below this video or in the description. Anyways, so always have a long form sales page. If you are charging a premium price for something, you just don't want to say, here, buy my stuff, and then think that people are going to give you $7,000. Like, you have to address the logical questions and concerns that your prospects have going on in their mind to give them peace of mind so that they will be willing to invest the $7,000. All right, so now that I got that out the way, y'all, I'm going to move on to the next thing, because I know everyone is not here for the business lesson. All right, so next thing's next. When it comes to DaNaia Jackson's coaching program and the infidelity recovery course, and I'm looking this way because I'm looking at my notes. The first thing that I want to talk about is when DaNaia did her interview and she talked about starting her ministry, I was actually very excited because I'm like, so many people are going to be able to benefit from this. This is going to help so many women who are in similar situations, who have had the same experience. This is going to be awesome. And when I saw that she was doing coaching, and particularly coaching, talking about how to heal, I was like, wait a minute, baby girl, like, you have to walk your talk. Like, and this is a problem not only that I see with DaNaia, but this is a problem that I see that is running rapid in the coaching industry in general, is you have so many unqualified, underqualified coaches out there, because the coaching industry is so free range, right? It's unregulated. Anybody can wake up at any time and decide that they want to be a business coach, a social media coach, a infidelity recovery coach, a life coach, and then just start a business. And no one is there to add a barrier to say, wait a minute, are you qualified to do this? Where's your license? Where's your credentials? Anybody could be anything in the coaching capacity, because there is not any regulations. And if you are A1 Day One on my channel, you know I have talked about this many times. I do feel like in the next few years, 2 to 5 years, we will start to see the FTC step in and really kind of bring more structure and guidelines and regulations to control everything that is happening in the online digital space in general when it comes to online businesses, but specifically when it comes to online coaching and courses, because there are so many people who are just kind of scamming and taking people's money. We're going to start to see more regulations pop up, and I think it's probably going to start in the form of, fun fact, this is a side note, but a lot of people don't realize that now social media influencers are required to identify if they're doing a sponsored post and say that, hey, this is a paid advertisement when they're promoting particular products and services, or if you get a commission from promoting a product or service, you're supposed to disclose that information to say that you receive a small commission for promoting that product or service. Or if someone pays you to post their product or service on your social media in a YouTube video, you have to say that this video was paid for or sponsored by the brand, the company. And people don't realize that that came about because of Fyre Festival. Remember way back when Fyre Festival first launched, and all the it girls, all the models in the industry posted that little orange towel, and it was like, hey, meet us at Fyre, and no one knew what it was about, but all they knew was all the top models were posting this orange towel saying they were going to be at this event. And so people felt like they're going to be there, I have to be there too. And they did not disclose that they were being paid to post that orange towel to promote Fyre Festival, right? And so a lot of those models have been sued since then. Some of them, I think Kylie Jenner still has like a $250,000 pending lawsuit, I believe, from Fyre Festival. Other models have been sued because of that promotion of Fyre Festival. But in response to that, that is why you are now required as a social media influencer, a content creator, to disclose when you are promoting something because you received a payment for it. And so that was kind of like the first thing that we've seen that has impacted the online space as far as disclosing certain things and kind of having standards and ethics when it comes to how you conduct business online. But over the next 2, 3, 5 years, I think we're going to see the FTC step in and say, hey, listen, coaches, you can't be out here making these wow income claims, telling people they're going to make $100,000 a month in 30 days if they take your program. Like, where's the receipts? Where's your where's your income statements for students' past results, right? I think we're going to see a lot more requirements coming down the pipeline, but it's going to take time. Until that happens, it is your responsibility as a coach offering these services to make sure that you have ethical practices. You're not misrepresenting your skills and qualifications. You're not using misleading marketing tactics. And as the consumer of these coaching programs and online courses, that you're doing your research, you're doing your due diligence to validate and research the people and products and services that you are investing in, knowing that it is an unregulated market. Okay, now that I have got that out the way, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now, I'm probably going to go on a couple of rants throughout this section of the video, just because this is what I do. Like, in the coaching space, I find myself getting so frustrated when these type of situations come up, because so many people do end up losing money, and you have people who will literally invest their last. They will not pay their rent. They will not pay their bills so that they can invest in these programs, thinking that this is going to be the magic pill that's going to give them significance in the way of, you know, having a lot of followers or recognition online, or it's going to help them to be a millionaire overnight or make a lot of money so that they can get out of whatever situation they're dealing with. And that's not necessarily the case. And so even in DaNaia's situation, so when I see that she's offering this infidelity recovery course, I'm just thinking, like, this is too soon. I think this may be something that she could have offered maybe 3-5 years from now. But at the moment, baby girl, you haven't recovered from your infidelity. You are still married to this man. What is it that you can teach or tell someone else about recovering from infidelity when you still have not recovered? You're still married. So you can't tell them how to navigate separating themselves from that person and moving on with their life, because you haven't done that yet, right? You can't really coach them on how to be healed when you're still healing. In your video, in your interview, there were several instances in the video where you said, I am still healing, where you spoke in the present tense and then corrected yourself. I have healed, or I have this. And I feel like that was based on the media coaching that you probably had before you did this interview. But it is very clear when you watch this video through a spiritual lens that you're still in your deliverance process. You're still in your healing process. And there's nothing wrong with that. Baby girl, you have came a long way. There has been a lot of growth. There has been a lot of empowerment. You have dusted yourself off. You have picked yourself up. But you are not in a position to be coaching someone else on how to heal from trauma that you have not fully healed from. And not only that, listen, you told us yourself in your interview how you actually been healing, how you've been able to go through this process. You know what you said? You said you got delivered, right? You went through deliverance. You said that at one point you had 3 therapists. You've been in therapy, actively getting help so that you can finish healing. And so for anyone that is thinking about, if I should take this course of infidelity recovery, of healing from DaNaia Jackson, no. What is she going to teach you when she's still trying to heal herself? She is not walking her talk. She has not done the thing that she is trying to teach you to do. If you want to get the results that she has accomplished so far on her journey that she is still on, how you do that is through deliverance. How you do that is through therapy, okay? You have to be willing to take the step to do those things, and you don't need DaNaia to do that. And if you're not for sure, how do I get deliverance? You're not used to understanding deliverance and prophecy and all that. You grew up in a Baptist church, you don't know. Listen, I'm going to tell you the easiest way where you can start learning. I want you to go in your prayer closet, get on your knees. If you don't have one, you can lay in your bed across your chair, and you take it to God. And you say, you know what, God, I'm tired of this situation. I want to be able to change my life, turn around, free myself from this situation, whether it's a relationship, it is drugs, it is alcohol, it is any type of sin that there can be out there in the world. And you say, God, I want to be done with this. I want to be able to reclaim my life. Where do I start? Help me. I am calling out to you for guidance. I am seeking your face for help. For you said, I am your child. You will help me. You ask God what he wants you to do. You ask God where he wants you to go. You don't have to ask DaNaia. You don't have to ask Ebony. You don't have to ask whatever the guy that name of that podcast was. You can ask God for deliverance. You can ask God to help you with your breakthrough. And now, let me tell you something else about God, because I know in the Black community, we love to go to life coaches. We love to go to counselors in the church. We love to go to people like DaNaia to help us with our problems. But let me tell you something else. Let me tell you this great thing about God. Even though we are spiritual beings, we are souls having an experience here on this place called earth. You know what else God gives us? He gives us worldly resources that can help us on our journey. What do I mean by worldly resources? God gives us lawyers. God gives us therapists. God gives us doctors. God gives us license and credentialed people who can help us on our journey every single day. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Listen, y'all gonna have me preaching for real. Y'all, don't be giving DaNaia your money. If you're thinking about investing in one of these programs or services, seek God first. Ask God for wisdom and discernment on what you should do. Ask him if he wants you to invest in this product or service, right? Maybe you will pray to God and God be like, my child, this is for you. This is going to be your healing place, right? But God may also be like, girl, is you crazy? I ain't tell you to do that, right? Seek God. Ask him for guidance. Ask him for clarity. Anytime you are confused or you don't know what the next step is on anything, take it to God and ask him for clarity, okay? Like, I don't know why people will use everything under the sun but God, especially when you call yourself Christians and believers and you say you have all this faith, but you'll go all the way around in a circle, avoid everything but taking it to God, trying to get a solution and answer to your problem. Anyways, so back to DaNaia and offering these coaching services and this course for something that she has not done already. She cannot walk her talk. She herself has not recovered from the infidelity that she experienced for over 14, 15 years of her adult life, right? She has not finished her healing journey to be able to tell someone else how to heal. And when you go on her website, in her description, her about section, in the course description itself, she talks about being a millionaire mentor, right? And she talks about having a master's of divinity. And these are marketing tactics that not only DaNaia, but a lot of people use to misrepresent their qualifications to help you, okay? Now, DaNaia says she's a millionaire, And my critical thinking to that is, in her interview, she said that she was a stay-at-home wife, a real housewife of Atlanta without the TV show. So with that being said, when did you have time to make these millions? Is it that you are a millionaire, or was your cheating husband a millionaire and you're a millionaire by the fact that you were still his spouse? So this is when I go back to the things that I mentioned earlier during her interview, when she kept saying, he said, oh, I look like a model. He said we lived in a 9,000 square foot mansion, not house, not home, mansion. And I was like, why is she choosing to use the language that she is using? And for me, it's because she was pandering to the target audience that she is marketing these programs to, and that is the church black women who fit one, two, or both categories, right? The first category is going to be those women who they watch this interview, and the whole time, regardless of what she was saying, regardless of how broken she was, regardless of how much cheating, infidelity she put up with, they listen to the fact that this lady has this level of fame and significance. She's married to a man who, based on societal standards, would say is very attractive, right? And accomplished, prestigious. And she lived in this 9,000 square foot mansion. And so people are like, I want that life. How can I have that life? Never mind the fact that she was miserable while living this life. Never mind the fact that this man cheated on her the entire time. Never mind the fact she was in this 9,000 square foot mansion alone with her children and her husband was nowhere to be found. But people will look at that and still want that lifestyle. I have dealt with cheating 𝗵𝗘 and 𝗟𝗟. They didn't even have nothing. So I don't mind putting up with a piece of man and living a life like this where I could be seen, I could have status, I could have access and money. I could put up with that, right? So DaNaia is pandering to that demographic of women, and she's also pandering to the woman who is her, who has dealt with infidelity, who has want to be chosen, who's had low self-esteem and wants to be able to reclaim themselves by attaching themselves to a man like Derrick Jaxn. That is who Derrick talked to, and that is who DaNaia is now talking to as well. And so, and if we keep it in 100, those same women commenting under the video talking about, girl, I've been in the same situation. I feel your pain. I feel your testimony. I'm supporting you. Half of those women probably jumped out of the comments on DaNaia's interview and went straight over there to Derrick Jackson's inbox to check on him and see how he was doing. Hey, big head, I wanted to make sure you are right. I saw the interview your wife did. I wanted to make sure you're okay. Those will be the same women commenting about the pain they just heard this woman talk about, who will go and slide in Derrick Jackson's inbox to console him, to check on him, while hoping that they will be the next one to be chose. But that's a whole nother story for another day. When you position your services to where you're a millionaire mentor and you have a master's of divinity, then most people are going to assume, oh, she's going to help me be a millionaire too. She's going to teach me how to make millions. She's going to be able to deliver me from the things that I've been through. Just because you have a degree in divinity, you just learned theory, right? You haven't actually applied it in the real world. It doesn't position you in a place to be able to help other people in this moment. Do I think that these courses would make sense maybe 3 years, 5 years from now, yeah, she would hopefully be healed by then. She would hopefully actually have experienced infidelity recovery and rebuilt her life, moved on, maybe got remarried, you know, if she chooses to. But in this moment, it's not there, sis. And that brings me to my last point, and I'm going to end on this, right? So I don't like to offer critique or criticism about something without also offering the solution. And this is why I don't really like to watch a lot of like anti-MLM commentary, because I feel like people are constantly talking about people in the MLM space. They're constantly pointing out the problems, but they never really talk about the solutions, right? What are you supposed to do about it? How do you bring it to where these companies don't have this light? And so I do feel like DaNaia can profit from her testimony. I do feel like DaNaia is anointed by God. She is one of God's chosen children. I do think that she's going to be able to rebuild the life that she had with Derrick on her own. But I don't think she's going about it the right way. And I want to put this clip in from DaNaia's own Instagram where she says proof that she can help people, right? And then once I show this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm showing you this.
Say 1, say 2, say 3. I am seeing 3 books inside your belly, inside your DNA. And I will use you, say the Lord. And I will use you even as a handkerchief for other women around the world. And I will show my glory through you. I will show my strength through you to them. And today the Lord said, it's a new beginning. A new beginning. You have stepped in a places of quicksand. And I was there to prevent you from sinking. But today, I will walk you the rest of the way. I see your future opening.
Her apostle, pastor, I don't know what this person is to her, but he is delivering her. And in this, and I know some people feel like this is crazy. You may come from a different church. You may not be from this particular, you may not be Christian. You may not come from this denomination. So because you're not used to this, you feel like this is crazy or not normal. Just because something is weird or different to you does not mean it's real. I grew up in a Baptist church. I currently go to a apostolic deliverance and prophesying church. I have experienced these things for myself, so I do know that they exist. They are real. And so I'm not going to judge her for this experience and say something is real or not real. She didn't have this experience. She did. I'm just going to go from what I see in this video. This guy is prophesying to her and saying, I see books. You're going to be able to heal. You're going to be able to repair marriages. And I believe that she has that anointing, but it is not the anointing to create courses about infidelity recovery. It is not an anointing to create coaching services for $5,000, right? If DaNaia wants to really lead through God's way, then she should be writing books. When I look at DaNaia, I see that she has a scribal anointing. She has a pen in her hand. She is meant to author so many books, and she is going to be able to help people through those books. But for some reason, DaNaia decided, nah, I ain't gonna write no books. I'm gonna create me some courses. I'm gonna create me some coaching programs. And why do I think that is? Because DaNaia is getting in her own way. Now, DaNaia, sis, if you watch this, I'm going to tell you, take it to God. You need to go to God and say, is this your will for me? Is this what you want me to do with my life? And I guarantee God is going to redirect you back to those books. Even when I watched your interview and I was listening to your interview, I was thinking, like, why did she do this interview? Like, she should have put this in a book. Like, this would have been a good memoir that she could have made tons, millions of dollars from, right? That made more sense to me. I felt like she could create at least 3 books. She could create a book where she just literally does a memoir. She tells her story, being Derrick Jackson's wife. She talks about the things that she went through. All the things that she poured out in that interview, she should have put in a book. And then after she released that book, guess what? She could have made money by going on a book signing tour. Go to all the black cities, you know, where we Christians and black women who are churched, who are going to church, believing God is going to send them a man that they're going to find in the church, even though there's 12 other women in the same church waiting on that same man. She could have went to Memphis. She could have went to Atlanta. She could have went to Detroit. She could have went to DC. Do you a book tour. Go sign some books on your memoir where you're sharing your story. There is help in that. You can help people just by sharing your story. Once you do that book tour, it settles down a little bit. You continue to go to therapy. You continue to go through your healing process. You're finally healed. That's another book. You can write a book about your healing journey, how you came out on the other side after dealing with this infidelity, after being broken and being at your worst and being able to rebuild your life. You can write another book, tell that story, and then you could do a book. You know what? There's life after divorce. There's life after Derrick Jackson. There's life after public scrutiny and scandals and being in the public eye. How did you heal from that? Those are the books that God wanted you to write. Those are the things that women want from you. What they don't want from you is a coaching program where you're telling them how to heal when you're not healed yourself. What they don't want from you is a $7,000 course where you're helping them to recover from infidelity that you yourself have not recovered from. So I make this video, number one, to say, when it comes to creating coaching programs, coaching services, online courses, walk your talk. Don't create courses around something that you have not done yet, because it may be sustainable for a little bit. You may get a quick bag here and there, but it's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to keep it up, because when people start investing in these $7,000, $5,000 services and they don't get results, and you're saying you don't offer refunds, guess what? They're just going to go drag you on the internet. They're going to run your name through the mud on Twitter. They're going to report you to the attorneys general, and you may end up with a lawsuit or two, right? But if you want to be able to help people, it has to make sense for where you are in your journey. Yes, DaNaia, you can write books. You should be selling books right now. Yes, you can monetize your experience doing a book signing tour. Yes, you can monetize your experience speaking at women empowerment brunches, just sharing your testimony, sharing your story with other women. But you trying to coach them on something that you haven't done yet? Nah, sis, that ain't it. That ain't it. And this just isn't for DaNaia. This is for anyone else out there who thinks that they're going to get rich doing something that God did not call them to do. I'm a business coach now, but I have a whole resume behind me for how I got here. Both of my grandfathers, well, one of my grandfathers, my mother's father, was self-employed. He was a self-employed logger, right? He literally cut down trees for a living, and I helped him with his books. My dad's dad, he had two businesses. He had a yoga business in the 80s, which I knew nothing about. Look, I was born in the 80s, right? But then he also had a consignment store, which I helped him with a lot. And my grandfather poured a lot of business knowledge and business sense into me. Aside from that, I went to school for business. In undergrad, I majored in business management. I minored in sociology, and then I mastered in business administration, and I have a master's in human resources. And even with my educational background, there were a lot of things about business that I didn't learn until I actually became an entrepreneur for myself. I started my first online business, a hair company, 𝗗𝗓 in 2013 where I sold hair extensions. I was a bundle girl before bundles was even like really popular. And then from there, I transitioned into a service-based business where I did career coaching based off of working in human resources. And I coach people on how to build resumes, how to prep for interviews and things like that. And once my coaching clients from career coaching started asking me, like, Ebony, I want to be able to start my own business. How can I do what you're doing? In the beginning, I still would refer those people to other people. I don't know nothing about that. Look, here's a business coach you can go to. Have you checked out this person, right? And it wasn't until people started coming to me and I realized the people that I referred them to were giving them bad information or misinformation. I was like, no, you just need to do this. When I first was like, maybe I should do business coaching. Like, people keep asking me for this. Maybe I should do it. You know what I did? I did it for free. When those career coaching clients came to me and then started asking me business questions, I would help them for free. Like, let me see if this works. Let me see if this is something that I could really do. When I started actually getting people results and helping them to build profitable businesses, then that's when I started charging money as a business coach. But by the time I did that, I already had this whole resume, educational experience, work experience, results that I had gotten for other people in order to be able to coach people to do that. And I think that's one of the biggest problems when it comes to online coaching and course creators today, because you see so many people on social media talking about they're making, you know, millions of dollars, 6 figures, 7 figures, $50,000 a month. You want to do that too, but you don't want to go through the process. You just want to get to the bag as fast as you can. And sometimes your path to the bag ain't what you think it is. You over here trying to get the bag through coaching services and through online courses when God is saying, hey, I'm going to make you your own millionaire. You don't got to rely on Derrick's millions. You could become a millionaire selling your own books. You can become a millionaire selling your own journals. But because it doesn't look the way you think it should look, because you don't think it's as profitable as God said it was, you want to do it your own way. You want to do your own thing. And that's your downfall. That's going to be your demise. Listen. This was heavy, y'all. I wasn't even expecting to say all this in this video. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like doing videos like this because already, like, this has been emotionally draining for me. So I think I'm going to end the video here. And I just want to say that before you invest into DaNaia Jackson's infidelity recovery course, do your research. Before you pay her $5,000 to coach you on your healing journey, do your research. Before you invest in any coach, any course creator, any program, regardless of what they're promising that they can do for you, make sure you do your research. Pray about it, use discernment, take it to God, and make sure that you're making wise decisions, okay? Thanks so much for stopping by my internet home. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you will be the first one to get notified anytime I upload another video just like this. Bye, y'all.